So, Ender's Game is a scientific fiction novel by Orson Scott Card, and basically the main character is a young boy named Ender Wiggin, and he's recruited by the Space Academy to mold him into a commander to save humanity against alien species known as the Buggers. So, basically, in this whole entire book, it shows the journey of him transitioning through Space Academy to Commander School, and finally to the final battle of defeating the Buggers. Our prompt is adolescents can't handle freedom because of not being able to control their emotions and not being able to be responsible. So our claim is that Ender Wiggins' situation shows how adolescents can't handle freedom due to not being able to control their emotions and not being able to be responsible. This is shown throughout the book through many fights, many events that happened in Ender Wiggins' life.
Oh, in Ender's Game, the narrative subtly reflects on the position that adolescents often find themselves within society, suggesting that true freedom may remain unattainable for them. As the protagonist, Ender Wiggins navigates the challenges of his training, it becomes apparent that societal perceptions of adolescents as lesser beings, perfect for manipulation, are deeply ingrained. This is a good example of manipulation and exploitation of Ender's exceptional talents by authority figures, such as Colonel Graff and the military establishment, who see him simply as a tool for their own ends. The quote says, "In the moment when I truly understand my enemy, understand him enough to defeat him, then, in that very moment, I also love him," encapsulates the complexity of Ender's situation, whereas his capacity for empathy clashes with the suggests the demands of society that view him primarily as a pawn. Consequently, the novel suggests that until society shifts its perceptions and grants adolescents autonomy, the autonomy they deserve, true freedom will remain an elusive ideal for them. Petra, a friend of Ender, also shows how freedom is limited by society. By this quote, sometimes the hardest battles are the ones we fight within ourselves. This shows that Ender is not ready for the responsibility of being granted this glorious freedom that he looks through throughout the book, and how society sees the conflict within these adolescents, therefore being too dangerous to give them free rein.
Consider Ender Wiggin, stuck between childhood innocence and the terrible realities of battle. On one side, there's the comfort and security of home. On the other hand, battle school is hard and in a competitive environment. Ender discovers the true meaning of freedom while navigating these extremes. As Ender reflects on his journey, he recalls, sometimes lies were more dependable than the truth. This is said by Colonel Graff. This illustrates his inner conflict as he grapples with the loss of innocent and harsh realities upon him by his training and environment. Ender also must strike a balance between conformity and uniqueness. Battle School enforces diligent regulation and expects obedience, with a strong emphasis on approval seeking and fear of failure. Nevertheless, Ender summons the bravery to stand out in this inflexible system by shaping his identity as a leader by employing original tactics and independent thought. He asserts his individuality when he says, "I'm not a killer, he didn't have to die." His individuality echoes with freedom and light, while his conformity speaks of limitations and darkness. Betrayal and trust are also important aspects of Ender's journey. Eli and Petra, two other pupils whom he bonds with, ends up being the companions he trusts. Eli's parting words, "Salam," symbolizes a deep bond of friendship and trust. But there's always a chance of treachery, especially from the instructors and superiors who try to trick and exploit him. When Graff manipulates Ender, Ender feels the sting of betrayal, thinking, the adults are the enemy, not the other armies. They are the ones I have to fight. Ender gains strength and appreciation for genuine company through the hurt of betrayed trust. Trust generates warmth and security, while betrayal brings out the coldness and isolation. There has always been Ender's conflict between reliance and independence. Despite wanting to make his own decisions, he looks to mentors like Chronograph and other students for direction. This is evident when Ender admits, I needed to be clever being. I needed to think of solutions to problems we haven't seen yet. He grows as he navigates this internal conflict, learning to balance reliance on others with his own independence. While freedom allows for exploration and self-discovery, reliance provides security and nurturing. When it comes to achieving freedom, both are necessary and even enhance each other. Finally, Ender's journey and Ender Games tell us that teenagers gain true freedom by accepting differences rather than avoiding them. Ender realizes, in the moment when I truly understand my enemy, understand him well enough to defeat him, then in that very moment I also love him. This is shown through the interplay of conformity and individuality, trust and betrayal, reliance and independence. This array of relationships and experiences guides them toward genuine freedom.
Adolescents often struggle with handling freedom because they're still learning to control their emotions and manage responsibilities, a theme that is shown in the book Ender's Game. So, Ender Wiggin, he is very smart and talented, but he is put into situations that require more maturity than he has. The lack of adult support and high expectations placed on him make things even harder. For example, Ender's isolation and the way he is manipulated at battle school show how giving too much freedom and responsibility to young people can cause serious and emotional issues. I mean, place yourself in Ender Wiggin's shoes. From a young age, you are basically kidnapped from your own home and sent to this external place that you have no friends with. You are pretty much forced there. What would you feel? How would you feel? It would be quite a bizarre experience, as you would be scared, you'd be lonely, and you'd be isolated. And this would definitely hurt your mentality. So some evidence for this is his fight with Bonzo Madrid, where Ender accidentally kills him just to protect himself. And he feels very sad and guilty about it. Textual evidence is he had to wear a mask, one face for the teachers and the other for himself. But sometimes when he was alone, he hated the way they had manipulated him, the way they had used him. This showed his struggle to deal with freedom and responsibility he had been given. Also, he unknowingly destroyed the bugger's homeworld in the last simulation, and basically Ender was overwhelmed with guilt. Textual evidence is, I killed them all, didn't I? And he told Mazur this, all the queens, so I killed all their children, all of everything. I mean, Ender pretty much killed a whole group of species, a whole group of a type of species, and this is very interesting, as it further shows how he was basically in this very bad emotional place, and it just turned even worse as he was manipulated to think that it was a simulation, but in reality he killed many buggers, and this furthermore put more guilt on him. This shows how emotions and mentality, it plays a big factor in adolescents' lives, because they can influence how you feel, how you act in the future, and basically this will happen. Another part where it shows that adolescents can't handle responsibility was after Ender had killed these buggers. I mean, he killed families and he killed queens, and this responsibility on him was just too much for him. He was a young adolescent at the time, and the responsibility of killing many on his mind will just furthermore break his mentality. I mean, he's a kid, literally the same age as many of the people that attend TAS in high school, and he just killed like queens, families, children as alien species, and he didn't even know about it. This is very concerning and would furthermore completely make him a killer, even though he never even wanted to be a killer. Even from the start, killing Bonzo Madrid, he didn't want to kill him, but he did it as self-defense. And all of this responsibility just goes to show how adolescents, when they're put with these responsibilities, they crack down under pressure, they crack down under guilt, and this is why they can't have freedom.